Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so nice to see all of you and to be here together at Congregation Shalom to bring in Shabbat together. So wonderful to have all of you who are with us online as well. And we are very excited. We are about to celebrate the B'nai Mitzvah of Zach and Zoe Messerman on Monday. Very excited. So we will be calling them up in a little bit for the blessing over the candles, and then to have Zach and Zoe come up for Kiddush at the end of the service. But before we get to that piece, I'd like to open our service with a prayer, with a poem prayer from Alden Solovey. He's a Jewish liturgist and poet. The ladder connecting heaven and earth is built of prayers and dreams. It rests on wisdom and truth, the solid foundation of Torah, and it leans beyond the sky and the clouds, gently against the courtyard of holiness and light, a plaza leading to the gates of mercy, the gates of righteousness, the gates of wisdom, the gates of justice, the gates of repentance, the gates of forgiveness, the gates of tears, and the gates of prayer. The ladder connecting heaven and earth is near, so near. If only you would turn to look, to notice that holiness surrounds us, to see the invitation to walk with God in this life exactly as you are, not an angel, but a human, carrying the breath of the divine inside your heart. We will turn to Lechu Neranena on page 12, offering our thanks to God in song, raising our voices.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena al Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena al Adonai. Naria, naria, letzoi shenu nekadma fana bitoda. Naria, naria, letzoi shenu bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena al Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena al Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena al Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai.
We turn to page 9, and we'll read responsively at the bottom. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope.
For Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living.
For Shabbat memories, glowing even in darkness.
For Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love.
We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And it is a pleasure to invite up to our bima Hannah and Jeff Messerman, parents of Zach and Zoe, and Howard and Sherry Messerman, grandparents of Zach and Zoe, this evening for our Shabbat candle lighting blessing. We are on page 2.
That's all right. Me too.
We all read this together. First. Okay. Is he ready? As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'halak ner shel Shabbat.
Let's all sing together in community. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We will turn to page 14. And we'll read responsively at the top. Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai all the earth. Sing to Adonai, bless God's name. Proclaim God's victory day after day. Tell of God's glory among the nations, God's wondrous deeds among all peoples. For Adonai is great and much acclaimed. God is held in awe by all divine beings. All the gods of the peoples are mere idols, but Adonai made the heavens. Glory and majesty are before God. Strength and splendor are in God's temple.
Let the heavens rejoice and the earth exult. Let the sea and all within it thunder. The fields and everything in them exult. Then shall all the trees of the forest shout for joy at the presence of Adonai. For God is coming. For God is coming to rule the earth. God will rule the world justly and its peoples in faithfulness.
We'll continue with Lechado D, welcoming in the Shabbat bride on page 20. There is a custom to welcome in the Shabbat bride during the last verse. We'll be doing 1, 2, 5, and 9. So when we say Boi L'Shalom, or Boi Kala, we will rise and turn to face the entrance to welcome in the Shabbat bride, the Shabbat Kala.
Licha licha dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela la la Lecha lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Hishmianu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem ul-tiferet v'litila la 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki mikor ha'beracha Merosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila La 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 Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri Ki va'orech kumi ori Uri shir daberi Kivod Adonai alayich nigela la la Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzola Toch emunei am segula Boi chala Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela la la Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Penei Shabbat nekabela
You may be seated. So we turn now to page 24 as we greet Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. The words of Shalom Aleichem portray angels as messengers of peace. There's a teaching in Jewish tradition that two angels go with each person on their way home from the synagogue as Shabbat arrives. May the warmth of being together, both in person and online, singing Shabbat melodies and praying the words of our ancestors, carry us into a Shabbat filled with peace. We'll read responsively. Peace be to you, O ministering angels, messengers of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing.
Enter in peace, O Majesty,
messengers of peace,
angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing.
Bless me with peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing.
Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, angels of the Most High, Majesty of majesties, Holy One of blessing.
We'll continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, בעגלה, ובזמן קריב ויאמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבא מבורך, לעולם לעולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה. בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה, ויאמרו Amen.
We'll turn to page 28 and rise for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We will turn to the words of Ma'ariv Aravim on page 30, the words praising God for putting the stars in their course in the sky. We'll read together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna meshane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, sader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On page 32, Ahavat Olam speaks of God's everlasting love for the people of Israel, shown through giving us Torah and mitzvot, teaching us to live a full and meaningful life through Jewish tradition.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu, b'shochveinu u'vekumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
You may be seated, and we'll continue with the Ve'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We'll continue at the bottom of page 39, and we'll read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ele, nora tehilot osef ele. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, ze eli alu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'nemar kif hada Adonai et Yaakov, ug'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
read together at the top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. And we'll continue with B'Shamru on page 44.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein bnei Yisrael ot hi leolam. Beini uvein bnei Yisrael ot hi leolam. Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash.
On page 47, pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. We rise for the tefillah, the center of our worship, beginning with Adonai Sifatai on page 46.
Adonai Sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi geula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamolcha ba'al gevurot umidomelach melech memit umechayeh umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol. Baruch ata Adonai mechayeh hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha sela. Baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. At the top of page 55, may these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. At the top of page 57, Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu ba'amcha Yisrael, u'tefilatam ba'ahava tekabel, u'tehi l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amecha. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod.
Amen.
And at the top of page 59, God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, Hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. We turn to page 60 for a prayer for peace. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Ki atah hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atah hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav, Al Yisrael amcha tasim le'olam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב, שלום רב, על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה המברך את עמו ישראל.
It was a beautiful, really heartfelt plea for shalom, for peace. And we will continue with a moment now for healing, a moment for thinking to those in our community who are in need of a healing of body or a healing of soul, refuat haguf, refuat hanefesh. While those we love who love us, they're a blessing in our lives. And we pray for their refuah shlema, their full healing, particularly in our hearts and minds. Our congregational community is thinking of Chandel Bat Frida Malka, Julie Borikoff, Margot Raz, Carol Dubin, Samsara Vizkaya, Sharon Rotman, Bob Radke, Lyle Rubel, Mark Cook, Moshe Ben Nechama, Jean Bass, Alan Turner, Steve Teplinsky, Myron Dvorkin, Esther Cohen, Lisa Furstad, Terry Finch, Harav Ilana Miriam Bat Chava, Faye Levin, Sarah Rachel Bat Yocheved Alexander, Alan Elias, Tia Barrett, Wendy Salzberg, Steve Plotkin, Kathy Peltz, Avram Ben Naftali, Emma and Max, Doug Cruz, Nadiva Sarah Batliba, Sharon Rothstein, Judith Naiman, Carol Rovner, David Goldstein, Marilyn Harmon, Chris St. Martin, Ellen Futterman, Barry Bursack, Debbie Kelly, Janet Meister, Michael Messi, Ahuva Yocheved Bat Chaim Belea, Susan Sack, Reza Tzvia Bat Shena Etta, Mary Frankowitz, Sophia Rubenstein, Ilana Himmelfarb, Chris Gould, Charmaine Hayden, Wendy Wiviet, Sue Weller, Ron Flintrop, Patty Arnold, Andrew Messerman, Kate Wilson, Marlene Marks, Eileen Hirsch, Yocheved Bat Rundle V'chaim, Walter Shapiro, Otto Feller, Avraham Bat Frida, Rick Gratch, and Marla Chakowski. If there are those that you are thinking of, I invite you to hold their names in your heart as we turn to the words of Misha Berach on page 253.
Of
la'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us all say, Amen.
We will take a moment now for silent meditation for the words that are in your hearts. Ratzon imre fi ve'gion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri ve'goli Adonai tzuri ve'goli. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Iyu leratzon imre fi ve'gion libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri ve'goli Adonai tzuri ve'goli. Shabbat Shalom. This Shabbat, the one right before Purim, is called Shabbat Zachor, the Shabbat of remembrance. Before we celebrate the defeat of Haman, we learn about his ancestors. Haman was a descendant of Amalek, another evil man. Amalek ordered his nation to attack the Jewish people while they were in the wilderness, in the desert, weak and struggling to make their way to the promised land. How cowardly and malicious to attack a surprised and defenseless group of people minding their own business. We're commanded to remember what the Amalekites did to our people on this Shabbat. It should drive us to continue to work to end oppression everywhere. Now, this is a tall order. Instances of oppression can be found all over the world in many different ways. This Shabbat, I ask us to focus on the unfolding war in Ukraine. Since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, thousands have died, Ukrainians and Russian soldiers alike. Ukraine is not defenseless, wandering in the desert, weak from hunger, but they certainly do not have the manpower that Russia wields. They are defending their cities as best they can, and it is a brave effort. Their president, Vladimir Zelensky, is a hero. He has thrown his lot in with his people as a leader ought to do, vowing to remain in Ukraine, fighting the barrage of attacks. Just how evil is this Amalek in our midst? A Russian missile destroyed the Babin Yar Holocaust Memorial Site, the place where Nazis killed over 30,000 Ukrainian Jews. On Wednesday, Russia bombed a maternity hospital in Mariupol. And for what? So that President Vladimir Putin can flex his muscles, throw around his might and power, playing a sinister game without regard for the human casualties. How then do we turn to the words of our Torah tonight? The three verses that we read on Shabbat Zachor, Deuteronomy chapter 25, verses 17 through 19, have some confusing directions. First, Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek. Remember what Amalek did to you. After recapping how the Amalekites attacked the Israelites, the last verse concludes with Timcha et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim lo tishkach. You shall blot out the memory of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. How can we fulfill all of these commands? Are we supposed to remember or to forget? In verse 17, God commands that we remember what the Amalekites did to our people, not the Amalekites themselves. We are commanded then to remember the actions and the feelings. Then it is our responsibility to blot out the name of Amalek, to give no credit to him. And finally, do not forget, never, ever forget, lest the lessons of history repeat themselves. And here we find ourselves in the midst of a war completely unnecessary, evil for the sake of evil. It is our responsibility to create a human chain of love, acceptance, and hospitality. We can donate to the Ukrainian Emergency Relief Fund run through the Jewish Federations of North America. I encourage you to do so by going to our Milwaukee Jewish Federation's website. We can educate, learn about the Jewish community in Ukraine, talk to those who have family and friends still there. Speak up about the atrocities being carried out in Ukraine right now. Write your own prayers asking for peace or amplify the voices of others who already have. God help us, we must continue the work of eradicating hatred and bigotry based in ignorance. Because we are all B'nai Adamah, children of the earth, and we all deserve respect, kindness, acceptance, and love, a world of peace. This Shabbat, Shabbat Zachor, may we remember in order to move forward in the work of blotting out evil in our world. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be God's will. We will begin our concluding prayers with Aleinu on page 282. We will rise together. And I would be honored to invite up Jeff and Harmony and Linda to open our ark doors for us this evening.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'teit gedula le'yotze breshit, shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
As always, it is a pleasure to have our young people up on the bima with us. Harmony, it's so great to have you here with us for services this evening. Thank you so much. And at this point in our worship service, our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us. And though they are no longer with us physically, we keep their presence with us in our hearts every day. Their memories shine brightly, a light that guides us, particularly in our hearts and minds. We are commemorating the lives during the period of Shiva for these dear members of our community. During the period of Shloshim, B.G. Karp, Eugene Gilbert, Andreas Hernandez, Milton Kaplan, Craig Marks, and Fritz Zorb. Our memories, pulled from our minds again and again, are softened by the passing of time, glowing with warmth as we mark the yahrzeit of loved ones who died at this time in years past. Frida Adashek, Kenneth E. Osman, Donna Backman, Larry Bensman, Gilbert Cranberg, Charlotte Daniel, Sylvia Edelman, Hyman Ephron, Wendy Englander, Barry Friedman, Kate Gorens, Perry S. Granoff, Genia Grinbaum, Herbert Grindell, Bryce Ethan Herbert, Teresa Himmelhock, Clara Hallweck, Marvin Isaacson, Faye Jubileerer, Marcia Katz, Michael Kleiner, Marion Klimpel, Suzanne Commissar, Robert Kopt, Rose Crom, Hannah Lambert, Esther Lansky, Lillian Levin, Jeannie Lovey Dvorkin, Rayla Markovitz, Gail Mendeloff, Herman Miller, Esther Paler, Joseph Peckerman, Libby Pumpian, Florine Ricken, Kitty Rosenberg, Paula Gruber-Sakarny, Fred Sattler, Sam Siegel, Norman H. Smith, Paul Spector, Milton Stein, Jack Joseph Teplin, Beverly Ugent, Shirley Wolchuk, and Fanny Wolper. If there are loved ones who you're thinking of at this time, or those whose names I might have pronounced incorrectly, please feel free to share them aloud with our community as my eyes meet yours. We rise together as a community for the words of Kaddish Yatom, Mourner's Kaddish, on page 294. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'vyomachon u'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehe Shmei Rabba Mevorach Le'olam U'almei Almaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Pa'ar V'yit Ramam V'yit Naseh. V'yit Hadar V'yit Alev V'yit Halal Shmei Dekudasha Barichu. Le'ela Minkol Birchata V'shirata. Tushbechata V'nechemata. Ta'amiran Be'alma V'imru Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Osei Shalom B'mromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing. And together we say, Amen. You may be seated. And it is a pleasure to call our president, Brent Arnold, up to the bima for some announcements, the life of Congregation Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Kozlowski. So good to see everybody here tonight. Hope that you all had a great week. March Madness is in full effect now. And basketball is definitely one of my favorite sports. Hopefully the Wisconsin Badgers are already out to a nice lead, but I haven't checked the score yet. Also, Aaron Rodgers will be back in Green Bay, and the MLB baseball season is coming back as well. That's got to be enough news right there for even a rabbi from Toronto to be happy. Unfortunately, he's not here tonight. Maybe a rabbi from Kansas City? A canner from New Jersey?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Good. Speaking of happiness, though, Oneg Shabbats are returning to Congregation Shalom on Friday, April 1st. I can't wait to break bread with all of you. And
It's not an April Fool's, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's
a real
definitely
thing
not.
this time.
It's a real thing.
All right.
And also drink that sweet Kiddush wine together. Also, our mask policy is on the verge of getting relaxed in the coming week. So please stay tuned for more information to come out on that. I want to thank everybody involved with Shalom's reopening committee for their 2 full years of hard, dedicated work, countless hours of meetings, and lots of conversations. We are really close to a community-wide Shehechianu, and I can't wait to do that. And it will feel so good. Our What's New always has some really interesting political and current event topics to discuss on Thursdays at 10 o'clock in the morning. The schmoozing? And the schmoozing. There's schmoozing involved. But Like Rabbi mentioned, Russia and Ukraine are on the top of everyone's mind right now, and you'll find this time with Rabbi meaningful and very highly educational, so I recommend you attend. On Sunday afternoon, March 27th at 2 o'clock p.m. is a special panel discussion based on the award-winning playwright, The Soap Myth, Who Has the Right to Write History? Panelists Jeff Cohn, Ruth Schwartfeger, Jeffrey Gingold, and John Diedrich will all be moderated by our very own Ben Marins. Sounds like a really fascinating discussion. On Friday, April 22nd, will be a special Tikkun Olam Earth Day Shabbat featuring our guest speakers, including Richard Diaz from Milwaukee's Coalition on Lead Emergency. The committee looks forward to reflecting on our world and our community as we celebrate Shabbat. Then please stay for a very special green oneg. Pretty exciting. Speaking of green, the first annual Gary Paler Memorial Golf Outing is coming. Did I do a good transition?
That's good. That's
Thank
good.
you. So the golf outing is coming to Shalom on June 26th at Songbird Hills Golf Course in Heartland. For $75 per golfer, you'll get breakfast, golf with a cart, lunch, and a whole lot of fun. We look forward to filling up the 120 golf spots and welcome anyone to join us for lunch as well. We also need volunteers for that day and various sponsors as well, so please see me if you're interested. Temple for Toddlers is here tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning. Love seeing those little ones. Meanwhile, Torah study is tomorrow at 9 o'clock a.m., and our Saturday Shabbat service is also at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We will celebrate Purim on Sunday morning with a new and improved Purim spiel at 10 o'clock, as well as the return of our Purim Carnival. I hear Rabbi Noah will be taking on the role of Haman.
Look out.
I said Haman. It's not like the
Boo!
kid.
I'm sorry. Missed my cue. Sorry.
And Cantor Purpur has a lot of new surprises as well, I hear. And we'll have to see what costumes everyone else shows up in. Should be pretty fun. And lastly, on April 3rd, I look forward to taking a field trip down to Skokie, Illinois, with our 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th graders to visit the Illinois Holocaust Museum. This is another amazing educational opportunity for our young congregants to learn and to grow. Learning the Holocaust through the eyes of a child is something truly extraordinary. Thanks to our education director, Brian Abner, for making this trip a possibility. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a great March Madness, and go Bucky.
I don't know if I can follow that. So there's a lot of really great things going on at our congregation, and we're hoping that you will join us for all of the many opportunities we have going on. And at this time, it is an honor and a pleasure to invite up Zach and Zoe Messerman, our B'nai Mitzvah, this coming Monday, to lead us in Kiddush. On page 5, we will rise as a community.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, porei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tichila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher letziyat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, Shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Oh, they're so ready. They're going to be so great. Okay, that's enough. Put the cups down. What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm going to guess that that was grape juice.
I'll get you for that. I will so get you for that.
Wonderful. Lovely to have all of our youth with us this evening as they get ready to take on some of the adult responsibilities in our Jewish communities. And we will conclude our service this evening with Lo Yisagoy on page 341.
Nation shall not take up sword against nation. They shall never again study war. Let's sing together. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy cherev, lo yilmedu od milchama.
Keni Hiratzon, may it be God's will. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.